My mother has never appeared to fully accept my fiancé as a part of the family, even though we've been together 6 years. My father seems to be pretty neutral, as he is with most things. I don't think my mom has ever intentionally been malicious towards my fiancé, but sometimes she can be occasionally rude or not inclusive. I have addressed those issues before, and they have generally seemed to clear up. We have our engagement party tomorrow, which we did not ask for, but did approve for her to plan and host. My mom asked what we were wearing, and I said whatever I'm wearing, and that my fiancé would be wearing a white dress because the bride always wears white. I felt like that would have been enough of a hint to avoid the disaster of my mom becoming the bad mother-in-law. But I saw a picture of her dress, and it is 70% white. My fiancé is certain this was intentional. Given my mother's controlling and self-centered attitude, it's believable, but I don't want to jump to that conclusion. I've told my fiancé that during the party, we need to ignore the fact that she chose to wear white and address it later. My mom thrives on petty confrontation, and I refuse to give her the time of day for it. But this needs to be addressed. My father has, in the past, been a voice of reason and is my personal mentor. I wouldn't be who I am without him. I want to consult my dad about what he thinks, because I'm certain she asked him, as I know she asked my grandmother. I don't disagree with my fiancé that she shouldn't be wearing white, but I don't know how to address my mother. I know if I go straight to her, she's going to get upset and hate my fiancé more. If I go to my father, he might just say, ignore it, and my fiancé will be mad. I didn't stand up for her. I want my fiancé and mother to have a good relationship, but so far it just seems like they are petty towards each other for no reason. My mother will always play the victim card, but I'm always the one who ends up getting hurt. How do I address the situation in a way where I don't seem accusatory, but also seem defensive of my fiancé? All we want and deserve is respect, and we don't feel like we are getting it. To add, for those of you curious, I'm a broadcast engineer, and my fiancé is a registered nurse. Together we make about $150,000 a year and have been together 6 years. So there are no issues with rushing into marriage before we're financially or emotionally ready. My fiancé has always come to family events, and all of my extended family loves her. But my mother still doesn't accept her, and her whole family tree loves me, even the judgmental uncle who swears he would never approve of me. I played golf with him, and it changed his mind. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You need to handle your mother's disrespect, not your fiancé. If you're noticing a history of your mother not being inclusive and occasionally rude, it's all been by design. Stop sweeping it under the rug, laughing at jump to conclusions regarding the rationale behind the white dress. Good Lord, my friend, you're in here writing an essay, acknowledging that your mom is a petty person, and still you're looking for ways to bend and twist that. Your fiancé isn't petty for no reason. She's giving your mom's hostile energy back to her. If you have to ask your parents how you should interact or what to do, you absolutely shouldn't be getting married. It's your turn to step up and be the man, and you're waiting for your dad to come up with your plan of action. Don't do that. Comment 2. I want my fiancé and mother to have a good relationship, but so far it just seems like they are petty towards each other for no reason. Stop with the both sides nonsense. Your mother is being a passive-aggressive, overtly aggressive nightmare. You know good and well that this animosity is coming from her. Stop gaslighting your wife and yourself into thinking this is anything other than your mother's behavior at play here. Stand up for your wife and let your mother know just how much she is and will embarrass herself if she continues. Then, give her consequences so that she learns you won't just let her continue with this nonsense. Now for the update. The engagement party was held at my mom's house. She went all out with flowers and balloons. It looked like a Pinterest board exploded, not gonna lie. But I was just hoping for a peaceful night, so I tried to ignore the fact that my mom was the one hosting this shindig when she has such a hard time accepting my fiancé. The fiancé looked absolutely stunning in this blue dress. She was like a goddess, and honestly, she rocked it, especially considering my mom decided to wear a dress that was basically white. I mean, come on. So this toast happens, and my mom gets up there, glass in hand, and starts talking about family traditions and how everyone should honor them. I was cringing so hard. Like, can you not? My fiancé stayed confident, though, which I loved. She was just so beautiful and didn't let my mom's nonsense get to her. I thought maybe this would be a new beginning for us, you know? Well, that hope was dashed pretty quickly. My fiancé tried to engage with everyone, and my mom just ignored her. Like, straight up ignored her when she tried to talk. My dad was clueless, laughing and joking like there wasn't a cloud of drama hanging over us. I kinda envied his oblivion, to be honest. After the party, I confronted my mom. Yeah, I know, probably not the best idea right after the event, but I was fed up. I asked her why she treated my fiancé like that, and she just brushed me off, saying she was just being herself. Really? That's your excuse? Just being yourself? So I suggested we have a family dinner to try and ease the rift. I thought maybe a fresh start would help, so I invited my mom, dad, and fiancé to this Italian restaurant we love. It has this warm family atmosphere that I thought would be nice for us. The night of the dinner, my mom shows up late, complaining about traffic. Classic. We start off talking about light stuff, and I think, okay, maybe this will work. But then my mom quickly redirects to past family events and all this stuff that only she cares about. My fiancé tries to share a funny story about our engagement, but my mom interrupts her right away, totally dismissing her. That's when things got real. My fiancé stood up to my mom, calling out the disrespect. It was kinda amazing to see her stand up for herself like that, but I was also terrified. My mom just got angry, accusing my fiancé of being overly sensitive. They started going back and forth, and I could feel the tension rising. My dad, bless him, tried to diffuse the situation with his usual jokes, but it just wasn't working. Finally, he just said, "Everyone needs to treat each other with respect." Yeah, no kidding. The dinner ended abruptly. On the way home, my fiancé refused to speak to me. Just silence. It was deafening. The next day, I get this text from her saying she needs space. I texted my mom, trying to figure out what went wrong, and she calls me, asking the same thing. She's still in denial about her role in this whole mess. I decided to reach out to my fiancé's sister to get her perspective. I needed to understand what was going on in her head because things were not good. She told me that my fiancé felt unsupported and isolated in the family dynamics. That hit hard. I knew it was bad, but hearing it like that made it real. I tried to organize a meeting with my fiancé to talk things out. She agreed, but only if I confronted my mom first. So I did. I sat my mom down and told her directly that her behavior was pushing my fiancé away. She got super defensive, saying she was just being protective of family traditions. Oh, please. At the next family gathering, I overheard her making comments about my fiancé's background. I was furious. I couldn't believe she would stoop so low. My fiancé found out about the comments from a cousin, and it just made everything worse. She was devastated. That's when I finally admitted to my mom that her actions were pushing my fiancé away. She took offense, saying she would never accept someone who wasn't one of them. I was just so done at that point. This is how it's always going to be? I didn't even want to know what she meant by one of them. We visited my fiancé's family after that, and it was like a breath of fresh air. They were so warm and welcoming, it made my family's behavior even more stark in contrast. I mean, my fiancé's family is the best. I was prepping for a big family event, and I knew the stakes were high. I felt like I was walking a tightrope. My fiancé decided to attend, which was a relief, but I was still worried about another confrontation with my mom. I was just bracing myself for whatever was coming. Edit, the event ended up being a lot more peaceful than I anticipated. My mom avoided any direct confrontation, which I was grateful for, but there was definitely an underlying tension throughout the day. My fiancé and I made a conscious effort to spend time with other family members, which helped us feel more at ease. We even got to chat with my dad and some cousins, which was nice. My fiancé's presence did spark some side comments from a few relatives, but nothing too harsh. My fiancé handled it with such grace, and it made me realize just how strong she is. Overall, it felt like a small step forward, but I'm still on edge about how my mom will behave in the future. Am I the idiot for trying to save my marriage after my wife's emotional affair with a coworker? I made a terrible decision years ago at a low point in my life and had an affair with a friend. My then girlfriend found out and we broke up, but got back together after only a few months apart after I told her how remorseful I was and how much I loved her. I've since worked on myself and been in therapy. I can say that I'm definitely not that same person. My wife and I have been pretty solid ever since, getting married and having 2 kids, but I got blindsided by her asking for a divorce, saying she's never been able to get past the cheating and that a recent text from a friend we had around that time triggered her and she just can't be with me anymore. I've asked and begged, suggesting therapy and ways to get out of the negative thought patterns because we've been genuinely happy. But she says she can't. She's been hurting and hiding these feelings for the last decade. I'm devastated, I'm depressed, but I'm trying to keep it together for the kids. I've told her that we can divorce because I love her and won't fight it if it brings her so much pain. But I'll need help with our girls. One is only 4 weeks old. I've also asked if there's another person, and there's not, and I believe her. We've agreed to co-parent and live together despite an official separation, but she's been distant and avoidant. I'm carrying the physical, emotional, and mental load of caring for both kids, and she just works or leaves. I'm not sure what to do or say because I know she's hurting, but so am I. I'm losing my wife and my best friend. Do I just let everything go and ignore her presence in the house? Do I move out with the kids since I'm already doing everything? Do I yell at her to be more involved? Our toddler is biologically hers, and our newborn I carried via donor. Do I stop trying to talk like we're friends? Or do I tough it out until she decides to be a mom again? To add, we are both women. My wife is the one who proposed. She initiated house shopping, and while I brought up kids, she wasn't opposed. The text was just a "Hey, how are you?" from a person that we associated with who is good friends with the affair partner, both of whom I haven't spoken to in 10 years. I am also not trying to reconcile with my wife. I just want her to be happy, and we have both agreed on a divorce. We have also both agreed to co-parent and live together to do so, but she's been unable to put in the effort. I am actively trying to engage her more with the kids and also talking to her in a friendly manner to make sure she's doing okay. My mindset is that in order to be good co-parents, we need to at least be able to communicate. Prior to the text, we were communicating amazingly with jokes and affection. We are each other's person, and I don't know, I think it just brought up bad memories she can't get out of. Now for an update. Thank you to everyone who responded constructively. My wife and I have talked. She doesn't want to leave me and the kids alone. She wants to co-parent and doesn't want to move out. She is just having a hard time and is depressed. She's going to make an appointment with her doctor. She also admits she loves me, that I'm her best friend but just cannot forget the affair. I'm going to give her space from me as her wife, have started looking into divorce attorneys for us, and will stick to just communicating about the kids and be cordial otherwise. I hope to give her the time and space she needs to heal, and have told her it will be okay if she needs to move out in order to do so. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. It's not unheard of for the partner who didn't carry the child to experience postpartum issues. If she carried the child, I would say almost certainly that is what's happening. Or possibly it could be delayed from her own pregnancy. I would try my best to get her in to see a doctor to determine if that is what's going on. Comment 2. You can't force her to co-parent, so make plans assuming you will be the primary parent. How long do you intend to unhappily live together? It seems to be such a strong reaction to a text message or to the person who sent the text. What is that all about? Now for the update. A few days after that talk with my wife, I started noticing her working late more often. She said there was a project at work that needed her to stay later than usual. This wasn't like her, and I couldn't help but feel like something was off. One evening, I got home and saw her car in the driveway, but she wasn't inside. I checked the kids' rooms, and they were asleep, but the house felt really quiet. I sent her a text asking where she was, but there was no immediate response. After a while, I got a text saying she was with a colleague talking about work. The next day, she left early for work, which was also unusual for her. I decided to take the kids to the local zoo to distract myself, and while we were there, I ran into our mutual friend who had sent her the text that started all this. My friend mentioned seeing my wife out with a group from work, including a guy he didn't recognize. A few days later, my wife's cousin came over to visit and mentioned that she had seen my wife out recently. This surprised me, and I asked her for details, but she seemed hesitant to share more. The following weekend, I took the kids to a birthday party for a family friend. While we were there, I overheard some other parents gossiping about my wife and how she had seemed distant lately. One parent said she was spending time with a new guy at work. After the party, I confronted my wife about her late nights, but she brushed it off as work stress. She assured me that everything was fine. A week later, I found her phone unlocked on the kitchen counter. Out of curiosity, I glanced at her messages and saw a flirty exchange with a coworker. Instead of confronting her, I just focused on staying calm for the kids. During dinner that night, I tried to talk to her, but she seemed distracted. The next day, I found myself looking up divorce attorneys online. A few days later, the kids had a school event, and my wife attended, but seemed really withdrawn. I noticed her laughing with the same coworker from the messages, and it hurt. After the event, I suggested that we take a family trip to the nearby beach to reconnect. The trip was tense. The kids tried to enjoy themselves while my wife and I avoided deeper conversations. On the way home, I brought up the need for more communication between us. A few days later, we had a family dinner at my parents' house, and the atmosphere was awkward. My parents noticed the strain between us, and my wife helped with the dishes. I joined her in silence, and we both knew that things were not okay. To answer a few questions, my wife admitted that the stress of the past few years got to her, leading her to seek comfort in someone else. She claimed it was just emotional and that they had not been intimate. I want to believe her, but I feel blindsided. Am I the idiot for telling my ex to get lost after he tried to win me back at an engagement party? I went to drop off my boyfriend's favorite meal to him today, only to find his ex's car in the driveway. I rang the doorbell, and he came outside and said, "I'm sorry, I just feel confused right now." I remember cursing him out a bit, crying, and saying I didn't know how he could do this to me when we had plans for me to move in a few months. I asked him what his plan was with all of this, and then told him the part that hurts the most is the lies and deception. And he was lucky I wasn't a violent person because he deserved to get slapped. Then I told him I would talk to him tomorrow because I realized she could see our entire interaction from his security camera monitors, and I didn't want her to witness it. Now I'm wishing I had said more, thrown her out, etc. I can't help but feel like I want to forgive him because I love him, but feel ashamed if I do. Any advice on if this can be salvaged or if it's worth trying to? If not, how do I move on from this? He didn't chase after me and I haven't heard from him, which almost makes it hurt more. She knew we were together and had asked if we could be friends and grab a drink 2 weeks ago. I know I'm young and I live in a big city, so I could find someone else, but I really thought he was the one, and my dad told me he thought so too before he passed away. To add, I spoke to him on the phone this morning, as many have encouraged me to get things that I had bought for the house. I am on my way to get them this morning. He tried to get mad at me, which at that point, I told him he was a gaslighting narcissist who can enjoy his miserable life. I will give a bigger update if there is one, but I appreciate all of the tough love and encouraging comments. As someone who loved him so deeply, saying goodbye was something I wasn't ready for, but I know I'd rather not be anxiously dating someone I can't trust. Now for a final update. Just got back to my house after seeing him. I held my ground as much as possible. I went in knowing I just wanted to get my stuff and get out, because the more time he had to convince and manipulate me, the more likely I would be to give in. He tried to tell me nothing happened, and I just told him I didn't want to hear it. I got what was mine and drove home and called my mom. I am still obviously upset. No one likes a breakup, but I'm excited to focus more on myself. For those who believe in karma, I did find joy in the fact that he got poison ivy yesterday after I found them. Thanks, Mother Nature. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. He doesn't want to be with you. Saying, "I'm sorry," and "I'm so confused" is a cop-out. He should not have started a relationship with you if he was still confused about his feelings for his ex. Walk away. Find someone worthy of you. Comment 2. You are at the door. He is shirtless. He says sorry. The ex-girlfriend is inside. He didn't even ask you inside to talk or explain. He didn't look for you after you were gone. Let this sink in. You are not important to him. Now for the update. The day after the breakup was actually kind of chill. I felt this huge weight lift off my chest, but at the same time I had no clue what was coming next. It's a little scary, but I knew I had to keep moving. Spent the morning packing up my stuff from my ex's place. It felt good doing it all on my own, like I was taking charge of my life. But then I got hit with this wave of sadness. It's hard to explain. Loading up my car, I caught sight of this photo of us on the wall. Just for a second, I kind of froze. That was us, like forever ago. And it hit me. But then, I glanced at the neighbor's yard and saw his car still parked there. And honestly, it just annoyed me. Like, dude, really? You're still doing this? After that, I got this text from my ex asking if we could talk. I just rolled my eyes. No way was I going to entertain that mess. I needed to focus on me, not his drama. So I decided to hit up the local bookstore. It's my happy place, you know? While I was browsing, I ran into Sarah, this old friend from high school. We used to be inseparable, but kind of drifted apart. She asked how things were going, and I was like, well, I just kicked my ex to the curb. We chatted about life, and she mentioned she was engaged. I felt this twinge of nostalgia. Like, wow, look at her. She's got it all figured out. Sarah invited me to her engagement party next week, and I was like, yes, please. I could use a good party to get my mind off things. Got home and decided my apartment needed a serious glow-up. I was starting fresh, so why not? Ordered some new furniture and thought about planning a small get-together with some acquaintances. Just something fun to celebrate my newfound independence. A few days later, I got this unexpected call from my ex's sister, Mia. She wanted to talk. I was like, fine. Mia mentioned that her brother was really struggling with the breakup and asked if I could reconsider. I told her straight up, I'm done. No going back. She didn't sound too happy about that, but whatever. At Sarah's engagement party, I was feeling cute and ready to have a good time. But when I got there, I saw my ex's car parked outside the venue. My heart dropped for a second, but I was like, nope, not today. I was determined not to give in to his nonsense. So I went straight to him and told him to leave. I said, this isn't the time or place for your drama. He looked shocked, but didn't argue, just walked away. After the party, I vented to Sarah about the whole thing, and she was super supportive. It felt good to have a friend who understood. The following week, I got a text from Sarah. She told me my ex had been trying to get back with her and was texting her. I was like, wow, he's really not taking this well. So, I crafted this group text with all our mutual friends, sharing my side of the story. I told them about the breakup and what had happened. And let me tell you, the group chat lit up with support for me. Everyone was in disbelief over his behavior. They were all like, what a jerk. His reputation took a serious hit, and I was honestly loving the support. One day I was at a coffee shop when I overheard two friends discussing my ex. They were saying how he was trying to manipulate the situation to get me back. I sat there sipping my coffee, just shaking my head. It was unreal. A few days later, I got this long message from Mia. She was upset about what I had shared in the group chat. She accused me of trying to ruin her brother's life. I couldn't help but laugh. Like, really? I responded with a simple message. I'm done with the drama. Good luck to you both. That was it. I wasn't getting sucked back into that nonsense. That weekend, I decided to treat myself to a local art exhibit. Art has always been this thing for me. I bumped into this super charming artist who was showcasing his work, and we chatted for a while. He was really easy to talk to. We ended up exchanging contact info, and I was kinda excited. A few days later, my ex sent me a text asking to meet up. I just rolled my eyes. I replied with this meme that hilariously dismissed his request. It was the perfect way to say, not interested. Now, I'm planning a trip to visit my family for the holidays. I can't wait. I miss them so much, and I know they'll be happy to see me. Life is looking up, and I'm just trying to enjoy every moment. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.